Welcome to Cleaning Business TV. We are so glad that you've joined us today. We're going to be talking about a very interesting, lively, informative subject that people are going to love.
They're just waiting. They can't wait to figure this out.
They are. They love this. I'm David Luke. I'm the Vice President for Operations for Maids A Mop. And with me, as always,
Ron Holt, CEO and founder of Maids A Mop.
So today we're going to talk about the question, should your cleaning business purchase company cars?
See what I mean? That's exciting stuff.
It is. I mean, it's a page turner. It's like they cannot wait. It's bated breath out there to see what we're going to say.
We make fun of it, but the truth is, this is a hot button topic for a lot of people in our industry. We get calls not directly on that from people that are interested in our franchise concept. And one of the first things they ask is, do you have to purchase cars, a fleet of cars?
Because most companies do.
Right, most companies do. In fact, if you look across the cleaning franchise industry, we're not going to name a bunch of names, but for the most part, the majority of those companies out there that franchise their brand do require company cars for each of the crews that are out there cleaning. Not all do, but for the most part, they all do. And there's a lot of reasons that you would want to do it. We're going to talk about what some of those reasons are that you'd want to for you to want to buy a car for employees. But there's also some reasons against it that we're going to talk to you about. And real quick, just to talk to you a little bit about Maids A Mop. We do not require company cars. So obviously we're a little bit biased, but I think once we talk to you about the for and against, you'll see why we've chosen the latter.
Okay.
So what are some of the reasons that you would want to have a company car fleet?
Okay. Well, the first one is branding. I mean, that's the given. That's so that everybody can see your name, your company, your colors. They identify basically your company with that brand, and so it works. It's like it's a rolling billboard basically. So I get it. It does make sense. That's the number one reason to have company cars is that branding presence.
It's a moving mobile ad. A lot of people pay. I don't know if in every town is different, but in our town in Birmingham, Alabama, there's a truck that drives all over town, and it's just a moving billboard. So with a company car, you get that moving billboard ability without having to pay an extra fee for that.
Sure.
So I get it. Yeah, like David said, there are some real reasons for that. So branding is the big one. A second reason is it allows you to actually track the cars and track your employees. In other words, there's GPS systems out there that you can install. There's other things you could do beyond that. To really map where your people are, and that's really important in our business because logistics is a big part of what we do. For those of you out there that are paying hourly rates to your employees, tracking cars is a big deal because you can determine whether or not your folks are actually cleaning or
going into the movies,
or going to a friend's house or whatever. We won't go there because I've had some crazy stories over the years, but there's other reasons. Another reason is cost control. Okay. This actually allows the company car allows a company to have, in some cases, some preferred pricing for fuel. In some cases, you may have a gas card, and you may have an arrangement with a local convenience or gas station. So there's a lot of reasons that keep the cost contained within your business, since that car is your car. What are some other reasons are some other ways you can control cost with this?
Well, it's really knowing what your costs are. I mean, if it's this preferred gas and you have to go to these stations, you actually have a very good handle on what your costs are. Another cost saving really is you have preferred pricing on even leasing the cars. If you're getting larger and larger fleets and buying more and more cars, you get preferred pricing on the car itself, whether you're leasing or even buying the car. So definitely those are some definite reasons for at least purchasing company cars.
So like we said, Maids A Mop does not require a company car. All of our employees are actually using their own personal car, and we of course reimburse their mileage and all that good stuff. But the reasons we chose to not require a company car for any of our employees are there's 4 or 5 different reasons. It starts with liability. When it comes to liability, we're talking about what happens if something goes wrong.
Sure.
Number one, there's going to be a large cost of insurance that you're going to have to deal with. But what if beyond that? What if you actually there's an accident, you're probably thinking physical damage, and that is significant.
Sure.
But what if it's beyond that? What if there's some type of fatal accident in some way, it could really damage, if not close, your business.
Sure.
All because you have a company car.
Right.
So liability for me is number one, the reason why we don't do it. It's just too scary, and there's no real enforcement out there. We can send them to driving schools. We could talk about it every day, but I hate using this, but at the end of the day, the liability is all going to be resting on your employees' shoulders. They're going to control that situation, and you're not. So with any business, it's very difficult for the business owner to not have some control. And when you're driving a company car, you don't.
Right. And even the liability, too. It's a factor. If you have a large company car presence out there, you could have people that actually want to cause accidents and want to sue your company and actually cause accidents to do that. And we've heard numerous stories about that, so we're not going to go into that. But that's another issue of liability. Negative branding. For me, this is a big one, a reason against actually having company cars. For instance, now this is never going to happen, but maybe you have employees or team members that are smoking in the car. And they roll down the windows at a stoplight and the smoke comes billowing out, and that comes out of your company car. Guess what? I don't want that. I don't want the negative branding that could occur, right? We just did talk about the branding that could occur positively, but what if the car's a mess? What if it's got a flat tire? What if it's got a spare tire? What if
10 years old?
What if it's 10 years old and it makes noise and it sputters into a neighborhood? Believe me, we have had customers call us and tell us this specifically. I don't want your car coming into my neighborhood. It's a gated community, and I don't want your ratty old car parked in front of my house. There definitely is some negative branding that could occur if, inside the car it looks terrible or the outside looks terrible. You name it. There are definitely some negative aspects to having that branding on the car.
That moving mobile ad that you were so enamored by could actually do the opposite of what you're trying to accomplish there. A third thing is cost savings. We've alluded to a little bit of this, but with a car, you all know this because I'm sure you own a car or a truck, comes maintenance.
Really?
Yes. There's all sorts of things that can go wrong, from basic maintenance issues like oil,
brakes, tires,
all that good stuff, but to bigger things. If there is an accident or if there's something bigger internally wrong with the car, you're either going to have to maintain it, fix it, spend a lot of money, or buy a new one. So, for us, we're a house cleaning company. We've always really wanted to focus on house cleaning, and that's it. And that allows us to really have a clear idea of what we're going to do every single day. What we are not is a fleet operator of cars, and we don't really want to be. So for us, we don't want to have some type of deep knowledge of a carburetor or whatever else is inside of a car.
Yeah,
I don't know.
Was that it? Was that the only part? Engine, tires, carburetor. That was the extent.
We don't get involved in that. We're a house cleaner, That's
right.
what we do. There's other costs that come along beyond just maintenance. Obviously, fuel. We talked a little bit about some of the good things. For instance, the preferred pricing that you're going to get. But the truth is, you still got to buy the gas. So we have with our reimbursement policy with our employees' cars, we still pay for gas indirectly. But at the same time, if there's someone going out there and doing something that's outside of work or whatever, they maybe got home late and they just said, instead of me coming back to the office, I'll just drive home. You are paying for that gas, and we don't really want to do that. We want to pay for fuel used in the workplace, and that's really it. So by not forcing our franchisees or our managers to have company cars, we don't have to worry about excess gas usage. A third thing is replacement. What? And this is something David will talk about in a minute. And what happens if the car breaks down?
Sure.
What happens after that? You've got a real choice in your hands. Do you fix this? Do you go buy a new one, or do you just say, I'm not going to deal with it? No, you can't just say I'm not going to deal with it.
You got to get to the home.
You've got to get there. You got to clean a house. So you're going to need that car. You're going to need to make a really quick decision when something goes wrong. So the other thing is a growth inhibitor. So talk to you a little bit.
That's big. To me, for us, just, two Maids A Mop, because our industry, we're growing at 183% a year. Did you know that? We're growing at 183% a year. That is a lot.
Yeah.
And having cars actually would prohibit that growth, right? Because as you get more and more customers, at least as we have gotten more and more customers, we don't want to wait on okay, we've got to purchase this car, we've got to have it branded, we've got to have it in place so that that team can go out. No, we don't have to. If that employee drives in with their car, we're ready to go. We're ready to put them in the field right away. So it's really a growth inhibitor when you say you have to have this many cars. Say you had 5 cars initially, and you had 10 those 5 teams going out every day, but your schedule's getting booked up and you need 10 teams. So do you wait until, okay, well, I've got to purchase the cars, then I've got to wrap them in my branding, I've got to do all these things before I can actually send them out? No way.
In other words, do you turn down new business?
No way. You don't do that. And so for us, reasons against, this was very easy. We didn't want growth inhibitors. Our win is to be the fastest growing cleaning company in America, which, bingo, we are. We didn't want growth inhibitors. So this is one for us that we took out of that equation for us so that we could just grow as fast as the phone rang.
Mm-hmm. So the final thing, and this is something that every market is different, every customer is different, so this may not work for every single customer, but it does work with a minority of your customers, so it's important enough to consider. Not every customer wants their neighbors and their friends or even their husband or wife to know that they've hired a maid service. Right. And obviously if you've got a yellow or pink or purple or whatever car sitting out front with a maid service tag on it, they're going to know it.
They know it.
So discretion is very important. And when our employees pull up to a home or a driveway, no one knows it. And there's no need for a service entrance and all that good stuff because it's just their personal vehicle.
Right.
So discretion is a very important part of the reason, or one of the reasons why we don't do this as well, because we've actually had people let us know that there needs to be discretion. I don't want anybody to know that. And for those of you out there that are actually cleaning company customers that don't care about discretion, this probably sounds crazy. But for the ones that want discretion, you know exactly what I'm talking about. Mm-hmm. So for us, that's another big reason for doing it. Now, when you've made the decision like we have to not have a company car as part of your process or branding, it still doesn't mean you just hire anyone with a car. There's part of who you're hiring is that car. So just like we talked about, discretion is required in a customer's home or driveway. Well, the same thing could occur if that car is really dilapidated or just needs a lot of work or spilling oil into the driveway. So part of our hiring process involves a little bit of a filtering of potential candidates that may or may not fit what our professional car or vehicle might look like. Now, that doesn't mean we only hire because of that, but that is part of our process.
Right. Well, again, we hope you've enjoyed this episode of Cleaning Business TV, and we hope you've learned more about whether or not to buy or purchase or lease company cars, or as we've decided not to. Mm-hmm. But again, we are so excited you've come to join us today on Cleaning Business TV, and we hope to see you again next week.
See you next week.